What's going on, YouTube? This is Decovin with Just Another Watchman. Haven't made a video in a while, but I've been having some interesting dialogues with a couple of different Muslims, and I want to issue a challenge to the Muslim people. I see this concept in Islam, and one of God's names is the Just, meaning that he's perfect in justice, which of course the Christians would believe as well, that God is perfect in his justice. But both sides also believe that God is the most merciful and the most gracious. And to me, I don't know if I'm confusing things, but to be perfect in justice and be the most merciful and the most gracious are, you know, polar opposites, two ends of a spectrum. And so my challenge to Muslims is to let us understand and know how God can deal with sin and be the just one, and be the most just one of all, the perfect judge, because he's perfect in justice, meaning that when a sin happens, he deals with it by punishing sin, because we would all agree that God hates sin. So how does the Muslim deal with God being perfect in his justice, judging every sin that happens, but yet he's also the most merciful and he can forgive anyone? How does those two things marry? Now, the Christian aspect of that is that God, in his wisdom, sent his word down to take on flesh, to be the sacrifice for every sin that will ever be committed, that was ever committed, and that is being committed as we speak. His name was Yeshua, or we know him as Jesus. He's the Messiah. This guy right here, he came 2,000 years ago and died on the cross as God poured his wrath out on himself. And then he rose again in 3 days. And he tells us that whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. Because see, that payment was nailed to a cross on Calvary's hill. This is how the Christian deals with sin. This is how God dealt with the issue of sin. Paid in full. Jesus said it on the cross. It is finished. His payment is rendered. And now we can have what we know as atonement for that sin, making God perfect in his justice by sacrificing himself for the lives of those who believe. And the most merciful because he sacrificed himself for those who will believe. Christian concept is consistent in what we believe. Muslims, tell us how you get to this point of who Allah is in consistency with him being perfect in justice and the most merciful, the most gracious. So leave comments below. I hope this starts some great discussion. I hope this gets some wheels turning. Look forward to hearing your comments. God bless.